Hello. Sit back, whatever you're doing. Sit back in the bathtub. Get you a towel. Grab your floaties.
Pool.
And join us as we have returned to another Bachelor cast. We've had one. You can only do so many.
Yeah.
You know.
Shoot.
So, here is the second. I'm joined by the hot tub crew. Is what I'm just going to start calling them that, honestly.
I like that.
No, not bad. Not bad.
So, I am your host,
Better than the pool boys.
Zach, a.k.a. DweeBros, a.k.a. the hot tub prince. We've got
Devin.
You're the second time Bachelor, like, this is a two-time pool combo. Because you were here for the pool one, for the last one.
Yes, I was.
Yeah. So
Second time pool caster.
I'm glad that you're back.
Thank you.
The pool's smaller this time.
Yeah, the pool is quite smaller.
A little bit.
As always, Jacob, excited to be here. Love to be here.
Travis, again, welcome. Thanks for coming.
Felt good.
Danny, first timer right here.
First timer.
Quite an entrance.
You might recognize him from. I'm just sitting so low on this. I'm like sneaking. But he was in Dweebs.
Yeah.
He was a great teammate for Conflict.
Which was awesome, by the way, because I mean, we've been talking about our project of us shooting it like behind the scenes and how we've thought. Now you coming in from the outside, kind of being a part of that. What have you thought about the whole project and what you got to play part of?
So I've always been into the concept of like, I've always wanted to do like some acting and some stuff like that. Coming into the actual thing, I felt very out of place. I was like, man, these guys
a lot of us did.
A lot of that. I was like, man, they are way above me and beyond me. I love what we did, and I look back into the stuff we did do for that channel, and I was like, man, I could have just done a little bit better on this, but it's just learning from our mistakes, and just in future videos, if I'm ever a part of it, I definitely have learned from it. But going into it, it was nice. It was really cool just to be a part of that.
Nice.
I appreciate that. It was fun.
It was very fun.
Had a good time with that. So we had a crazy month of games, TV shows, movies, theater plays, books. Everything happened this month. But let's talk more about the channel and going into games. I did some hangouts. Kenny joined me for Crash Team Racing, the remake for Crash Team Racing. I would kind of agree because the more I played of that, the more I was, because you cannot change the difficulty. Once you start the difficulty in that game, you're locked to it.
Really?
And
the whole time you can't change it?
Yeah, and I'm used to being able to change the difficulty a little bit into the game, like I'm having trouble, whatever. Not in Crash Team Racing.
Once
it is
you're in,
just,
you're in.
Yeah, and this game towards the end kicked my butt, and I was suffering a lot, but I did, I kept with it. But me and Kenny played. You can check that out. The Hangouts. We played some 2-player. I called him Fox on crack or something, like a crackhead fox. Something about that. But
Is someone that's never played Crash Team Racing, is it on par with Smash Brothers? It always looked like not Smash Brothers.
Mario Kart.
Mario Kart. It looked like a Mario Kart ripoff to me when I was younger.
Now I'm of the kind of person that says I think I like Crash Team Racing better than Mario Kart, because Mario Kart, it's more ubiquitous. People know about it more, and they play it at parties and stuff. Mario Kart, you can be first place, the best player there at the party. Yeah. And then you get in the third lap, last stretch, someone blue shells you, and you are sixth place, screaming, killing your friends, like murdering them in the living room.
I just like that, though, because essentially it is that party game. Because let's be honest, not a lot of us are playing Mario Kart like by ourselves when we do it together.
I was trying to, and I was having an okay time, and I was trying to get first place on all the speeds, and I gave up because of that crap.
The unpredictability of it. It makes it so much more fun, makes it so much more different.
And I would agree with that. As far as that, yeah, it's crazy. You're screaming. It's more of a fun party game. If you're just like skill-wise, though, it's more fair, more fun to the Crash side, to the point where you can lap people. If you're that good, you can lap, which is unknown in Mario Kart. You can never lap people.
So a thing when it comes to racers, I'm not a big fan of racers. I'm a very sore loser. I hate Mario Kart because I suck.
It's awful.
But man, when it cut, you guys talking about crash racing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Man, I'm not trying to sound like a retro gamer, but when it comes to it, like one of my favorite racers of all time is Diddy Kong Racing.
That's a great game.
Yeah.
And Nintendo 64.
I was never into those, but they were an alternative, to
Yeah.
Mario Kart and what they did.
What were some of the strengths about Diddy Kong Racing versus Mario Kart?
There was you could fly. I mean, before you could choose the race you want to go to. You venture around this island. There's like a elephant genie.
Yep.
There is
It
an
really
elephant
wasn't-
genie.
it wasn't
There was an elephant genie. I'm just trying to remember. I haven't played it in years.
I remember when you boot the game up, you open up on an island, and you have basically a bunch of different passageways you can go.
In that way, it's actually similar to Crash Team Racing because Crash Team Racing gave you an overworld map.
See, I've never played Crash.
And Diddy Kong is the same way. You're driving around that map.
Yes, but
To get to
I
Mario.
never played Crash. But I just remember, Mario Kart. So I'm kind of older school. I love the Mario Kart.
Yeah.
But Diddy Kong Racing was cool because you could fly, you could hover on a hovercraft, and you could drive. And you could drive to different parts of the island. And each course was, I can't remember if it was like Mario Kart. You collect like
pick
a
up
diamond and
items,
something, and
yeah.
you get items. It was just very different in a way.
I found it very hard because I played it kind of recently to see what I thought about it, and I was losing even more than Crash Team Racing.
See, I
So
liked it because of the fact that in the time where all you was introduced to was kart racers, you had planes and you had hovercrafts too,
Yeah.
which gave a sense of because your typical driving game, all you're doing is driving.
and Mario didn't
Right.
do that till Mario Kart 7
Exactly.
on 3DS.
So for my thing was like at a time where N64, Rare was like, hey, let's try to make our racing game as much fun as it can be. Give them 3 equipment types, and right there, boom, planes. Right there's hovercrafts, and then they made the maps where you have 3 different ways to play the maps.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
man, they really understood.
Now, did you ever play the 3DS version, or was that a Whoa,
Did
we
he
got
go
lost.
racing?
We have an uninvited podcast guest.
They've been all over the place.
Yeah, I don't know why they just rude insects. I'm just gonna say it. Sorry to any wasp watching.
I love the bees. But
Yeah.
anyways, what were you saying?
I was saying, did you ever play a 3DS one?
The 3DS Mario Kart?
Was it no 3DS Diddy Kong?
There was a 3DS Diddy Kong Racing?
Yes.
Oh, I
Whoa.
They didn't announce
Oh,
that.
okay.
Was it regular DS or 3DS?
When did that come out?
It might have been regular DS. Do you remember
I
that?
think regular. I
Okay.
never played it, but I do kind of remember.
I
Was
did
it a remake or was it a continuation? We
It
don't
might-
know.
it
You
might
tell
have
us.
been
Was it
its own
good?
game.
Yeah,
I don't
please
remember.
tell us. I don't know.
I thought someone would play it, but
But-
guess no Diddy Kong.
I
We're
have.
true
So
fans.
you did Crash Team Racing, Hangout.
Okay, so that one good. See some 2-player action on that. Then I did Astrobot, PSVR.
How did that go?
So it was the first time. It was more of a test kind of a hangout because I can't read the chat. I had to keep picking this out to see is it still running? Is the audio still good? So I'm basically blind doing this stream. Someone could be like robbing the house and walking around me. I would have never known. But it went really good. It worked out. The stream worked out good. I was giggling on stream with that game. I mean, I had said it. You get to see it on the Hangout. That game is so phenomenal. Like,
Yeah.
it is so freaking fun. It reminds me of a Nintendo game. It reminds me of Mario.
Oh, hell yeah.
It is right up the alley of... Because I was seeing people say, is this better than Mario? Man, it is close. It feels like a Nintendo game. Nobody replaces Mario, I feel like. But at the same time, this is a 10 out of 10 for me. This was a classic... I ended up beating the game, 100%ing it
Do they keep bringing in new ways to use the VR throughout the entire game?
throughout the entire game. I was in the last world to a point where it's like they could have even done more, but they really they were still introducing stuff and they didn't overuse anything.
Yeah.
But I'm in the last world and they're introducing a new item to use. So there is parts throughout the game where you open up like a chest, you put your controller in, and they give you an item that because you see your controller in the game. And you interact with this third-person little robot, and you're third-person platforming with it. Well, you have a water gun. You have you can shoot a rope out to have the Astrobot jump on it, and he can fling him up in the air. But towards the end, there's even new stuff. They kept introducing new things. So
See, those platformer VR games. I mean, when Oculus first announced their Storm and their platform, they needed an IP to kind of get behind. They introduced Lucky's Tale, which unfortunately it fell kind of flat. It wasn't received in a great way. But it did set up a genre. I think Travis has even touched on with Moss. There's so much more you can do with the VR platform. And PSVR saw, I think, what they were trying to accomplish and took Astrobot and took their little mascot for VR and turned it into a 10 out of 10 type of game.
it really definitely is. I never felt there was any lulls in it. I felt like I was playing for a long time because I can't stay in the PSVR for more than an hour
What-
at max. So like,
What's really weird is we did in Dweebs, one of the episodes we focused on platformers specifically.
Yeah.
And we talked about how like they still exist, but like where have they gone? Because they've kind of lost their place just
Yeah.
because there's a lot of RPGs and shooters and stuff these days. There's not many true
Yeah.
platformers. But when I think back, like platformers played a really important role in 2D games figuring out
Yeah.
their basic design. They obviously played a really big role in 3D games finding their design footing
Yeah.
with Super Mario 64 and Crash and stuff. And now again, they're helping VR
Yeah.
find its footing.
Yep.
So I think that we're in store for more VR
Oh, yeah.
platforms because they are by far the easiest thing to get made and innovate
Yeah.
within. Way easier than trying to do first person
Yeah.
stuff and do the
I
how do
agree.
you move around in VR in first person. So I think Astrobot it's gonna be very influential.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if each one, like you said, each one of these headsets tries to find its mascot.
Yeah.
And we're going to go back to the Sonic, Mario, Crash days war, but it's going to be with VR and
Yep.
it's going to be
I
with
was
these-
literally just about
Yeah.
to say that. You know, the way you're describing it. You know, people. I truly believe. I'm not very fluent, or I don't keep up with much game industry nowadays, but I completely agree that these game companies, they're constantly thinking, what is the next Sonic?
Yeah.
What is the next Mario? And now that we've got VR,
Yeah.
they're definitely thinking of a way to push that forward, because those were the greatest games. Me as a kid, those were the greatest games of all time.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting, and I'm very interested in myself to see what comes of it. So
I want to play Astrobot because what you're kind of describing is like being surprised, and I don't get
yeah.
surprised a lot in games anymore.
it
I
also
don't get surprised very.
I
often.
talked about this on the Hangout. It reminded me of when you first got the DS, and the DS had you doing weird things and drawing weird things and blowing on the mic and all the weird and turning the screen. You know what I mean? Like the DS was fun. The DS was wacky.
Yeah.
And the PSVR had those wacky moments, and I was laughing and giggling. It had you just doing stuff I didn't even know the PSVR could do, and you know what I mean? Like different things. I don't know how to explain it. So,
It's getting there.
so absolutely 10 out of 10 Astrobot. So that was really cool. What have you guys been playing lately?
Yeah.
So the main thing I've been playing lately is a game called Crashlands.
For what's it for?
Well, so it's on iOS and Android, and it's on Switch, and it's on Steam. It's a really cool RPG. It's kind of a top-down game where you crash land on a planet.
I'm gonna let you hold the mic. I'm gonna get,
Yeah.
a beverage.
You want a beverage?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you crash land on this planet, and you were trying to deliver these packages, and then someone like ransacks your ship, and so you crash land, and then you have to try and go find them, and along the way you meet people, and you have to craft weapons and armor. But it's a really like unique approach as far as the crafting goes, because you can't even see your own inventory, because you just collect stuff as you go, and so rather than having to worry about like how much stuff are you carrying and all that kind of stuff like you might in like a Skyrim or something like that, it kind of manages itself for you, and so it's pretty unique in that way. That's from Butterscotch Shenanigans is the game company. That's what they're called, yeah. And then they actually that game came out 3 or 4 years ago, something like that. And the only other game I've been playing is also from them. It's called Levelhead, and that's their new game. It's in early access on Steam.
You're a real Butterscotch fan.
I am, because they're so well, and they have their own podcast that I listen to all the time. That they're really funny guys. So like I just keep up with them a lot. But that game's in early access. It's also, we're talking about platformers. It's the closest thing you can compare it to is Mario Maker, but like it's very unique on its own. It's not just like a clone.
Are these people from the St. Louis?
Yes,
area?
yeah. They're from St. Louis, so I got to meet them last year. They held like a little small convention. They're doing another one this year. I don't think I'm gonna get to make it, but
Oh.
I don't know, they're just really fun games. Levelhead is really cool. It's got its own full campaign, and then you can also play user-created
Did
levels.
you say
and
like they were showing all this stuff and they announced Super Mario Maker 2?
yes,
like,
yeah,
at the same time?
they were like 8 months, maybe more into development,
Yeah.
and then Nintendo was like, Mario Maker 2 is coming out, and they all were like, well,
Yeah.
frick. And so that's when they decided to go into early access so they could just get the game out as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So eventually it will come out on Right now it's just on Steam, but it will come out on Switch, and Xbox, and I think mobile as well.
Nice. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Butterscotch is everywhere.
And then that and Smash. I'm always playing Smash. That's
We
always
talked about that before. The Smash team.
always in the background. Even today I was playing, trying to beat the campaign, getting close.
I thought you would already beat that, but
They just played.
I mean-
hey, you saved it for the Bachelor Week.
Yeah. Nope, not yet. So
that's fair.
those are the main things I've been playing.
Cool. Jacob.
So, man, I've been busy this month, guys, playing games. Normally, when I'm not playing games, like I'm normally the one that's like, oh, Jacob, you haven't done anything this month. Yeah, you're right, I haven't. But I have jumped full head back into Red Dead Redemption, Red Dead Redemption 2, actually, to change out that wording. I actually was hanging out with some of the teenagers from our youth group. They came over and they were like wanting to do something stupid. Well, why not bust out a Rockstar game where it's complete sand mode and you can do whatever you want that's stupid?
Right.
So I was watching them play it, and all they kept doing was lassoing people and running with them, and I was like, I missed this game. I jumped into it. I got about a fourth of the way through it, and I kind of put it down because I was like, this is too slow for me.
It's very slow.
It's very, very slow. But I've jumped back in, and I've accepted the fact that it is slow, and I'm now embracing it. And I'm like, this is the type of game it is. This is why it's created that way. This isn't your traditional GTA. I should understand that and accept that.
Is this the first?
The second Red Dead.
Second
Second Red Dead.
Yeah.
The first one I played through, obviously, with John Marston, and I understand where the story stands with that. So I'm enjoying it. I'm about halfway through it. I should have it beat by the end of the next month. Going in, and I'm excited. I don't know about you guys.
So now that you've returned, you liking it more now that you've picked it back up?
I am liking it more. I am noticing certain things where I'm like, again, I've accepted this how, like, I don't understand the whole process of me having to tap X to go faster.
Yeah.
Like, for me, I'm like, that is stupid. Like, that is the dumbest mechanic. I don't know what they're trying to make it where you had to feel the real pain of galloping a freaking horse. I don't get it. My thumb hurts. Like,
I mean, when you're actually ride a horse, your thumb hurts from hitting the button all the
tapping
time.
X all the time.
You
just to get
tap the
horse
head of
going.
the horse. I think that's how you do it in real life.
The only thing I haven't tried out yet that I'm also the type of person that would try out, which is the online Red Dead Redemption.
I haven't tried the online.
And I don't know about you guys that's listening currently. If you have listened and have tried it, let me know. I've heard mixed reviews about the online. It's not as fleshed out as GTA, because GTA Online is still one of the most popular things that's being played on PC right now. So I have not touched GTA Online in a while, but I do want to try out Red Dead Redemption Online because it sounds like Western people getting together playing Western sounds kind of goofy and fun. So a lot of times I've been taking up playing Red Dead. I have been mixing up some Breath of the Wild DLC. I'm finally getting around to playing that. Frick it to the core. It's the stupidest thing ever.
It's hard.
I'm sitting here like, I'm like, Dark Souls sucks. Like, Dark Souls does royally suck. I think we all in this hot tub agree it's the worst game.
I'll tell you what,
Travis.
I've never given up on a Dark Souls game. I gave up on that Zelda.
I don't have the patience for stuff like that.
Dude,
So
I gave up on that first Zelda DLC.
I jumped in. I went to do the Master Sword trials, and I get deep. I get like 8-9 levels deep, and I'm like, I have to be getting close to the end. And they're like, no, you like go take a hike. I'm using a twig to beat enemies up that breaks in 5 hits. So I don't know. I'm still working on the strategies. I've given it about 20 or 30 tries so far, and it's kind of getting frustrating. I took all of Kenny's amiibos because he has all the Breath of the Wild amiibos.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
wondered what happened the other day because I go in your room and there's a million amiibos.
I did
just
not.
you just laid all
Because
over
they
the
give
place.
you like abilities or extra
Drops,
stuff.
they give
Yeah,
you
drop
drops.
stuff. But those don't work in the
No.
DLC.
But I just want them now because like I'm trying to do the one-hit trials too, which I got through the one-hit trial, which was pretty awesome. Like the Obliterator thing was cool.
Yeah.
That was a way different style of play.
I like that.
And when you fought the boss, I was like, this is stressful. Like this is super stressful. So hats off for the Obliterator trial. Thumbs down for the Master Sword trial. Way to really stick it in me for that one.
Now, how far did you get? Because I did, there's 3 layers,
Yeah.
right?
I've gotten.
I did the first one. It took me several tries, but I
Yes.
did it eventually. That one bridge with all the lizards, F that bridge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then, the second layer, I can't even get out of the second level. Like, it
Oh,
is...
really? The
Because
one
there's so
with
much
the-
elevation and you're
Yeah.
flying around. And I realized if there's a whole nother one after this to go, I can't do it. So I just stopped.
At least what I've experienced is when I got to the point where I like the lizards were being cloaked, the lizards or lizardos, I don't know how to pronounce them. They were cloaked. I was like, I would literally beat all the enemies. I was looking around like, I cannot find this last freaking enemy. and next thing you know is I get hit from behind, and I don't curse. That's just my preference. But I mean, like, if you can't see this, I want you to understand, like, my fingers are almost touching. Like, that's how close I was to just, blurting things out I shouldn't have said. So it was really frustrating. And again, I say frick Dark Souls. I feel like this one's not as technical as Dark Souls, so I know I'm capable of beating it. I just need to keep plowing away at it. So Breath of the Wild DLC, Red Dead Redemption 2, I've been playing a lot of, and then my sweet, sweet, beautiful VR. Guys, I'm telling you, if you're not quite into VR, which you're missing out, like, wholeheartedly. If you have a PC and you haven't even looked into getting any type of VR consoles, they're starting to get low in price. I would be investing in one. There's some.
And what are you playing now on the VR?
Currently I played through Star Wars, obviously Project X.
Star Wars experience.
But Onward just did Pavlov just did an update where they introduced jailbreak mode, where basically it's prisoners versus guards.
Okay.
And so I load into a server and I'm a guard and I'm living out the life of a guard. And I'm telling the prisoners to go in the showers. I'm telling the prisoners to go to the lunch hall. Telling them to go outside and work. And these guys are in VR breaking rocks.
Oh my god!
But secretly, we
know how the Stanford the experiment.
But secretly, they're all talking amongst each other like, "Hey, at night, this guard is on this patrol route. We're gonna knock him out, take his keys, and we're gonna try to break out that way." So they're all planning their breakout while we're just trying to stop them at every full.
Yeah.
But there's rules. I can't just pull my gun out and shoot them.
That sounds amazing.
I can't just pull. I can now if they have a gun or any kind of weapon, I am allowed using lethal force. I'm allowed doing all that. And they have moderators who are managing these lobbies. So if you're just going around acting stupid, they boot you from the lobby. Wow. So it's honestly kind of
get fired from your prisoner guard job on VR.
I played as the guard, and like that right there is awesome because you have so much authority. Like, they give you a stick, and you can just shock them, and they just get drawn back. It's cool. You can put them on breakdown, lockdown.
History will repeat itself.
Yeah, it always does.
Are the people playing the prisoners real prisoners in jail somewhere?
I hate they put their VR all the time to escape reality.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
The other side, I've also played the prisoner role, and it is hard. Like, honestly, it's kind of cool because it makes you really appreciate... Actually, it makes you wonder how people do break out. Like, they deserve to be free if they break out at that point. Because, like, the things we have to plan is super, it's super intense. It's super hard.
You gotta play it.
It's Pavlov. So
I know I'm kind of behind on games, but is it kind of like Dead by Daylight where you're, it's victim versus predator?
Yes. Do you play Dead by Daylight?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, hey!
My son loves that game.
I love the game. I have like 150 hours in.
Now, see, being me, I was like, man, I would really love to be the guy stalking, but you know what? I actually enjoy being the victim.
The survivor.
I like trying to escape.
The level of gratification you get, it's so awesome. I played Dead by Daylight, but I've slowed down a little bit. I'm not going to talk about it anymore because you guys are getting sick of it, probably hearing about it.
Talk about it.
I'm a big fan of Dead by Daylight. They have the Stranger Things coming out, which I've talked about last month. But the VR, the Pavlov
is that Left 4 Dead?
Huh?
Or are you talking about Dead by Daylight?
Dead by Daylight has a Stranger Things DLC that's coming out very soon.
All these dead things. Okay.
Yeah. So, but it should be hitting public test servers actually this week.
Nice.
So we'll be seeing that.
We
hit.
get the Demigorgon.
Yeah, the Demigorgon's gonna be coming out. You're gonna have some things hitting the fan. I'm excited for it. It's gonna be really, really awesome.
We've got a Demigorgon fan right here.
Right, Demigorgon.
What do you think of the Demigorgon?
Badass.
You heard it here first from the person off screen.
Demigorgon, they're great.
But real quick, I'll talk about Pavlov and then I'll go ahead and move on. Pavlov is just seriously like a Counter-Strike VR.
Okay.
It's built from the same engine.
thing is a mod for Pavlov.
It is a mode mod that was created. So what's cool is like it's open. They encourage modders. They created the game. They're like, hey, we want you coming in creating these basically Steam workshops.
Yeah.
People downloaded then into that game mode.
That's
so
cool.
People have all created Counter-Strike maps. All the Counter-Strike maps are in this game. It's virtual reality. You get to play it through and through. It's really cool. And then they created obviously Jailbreak. It's Prison Break, and that's the new mode that got released that people have been really hyped on. The next one's called Life. And they're saying Life is basically...
They're going to recreate Life.
It's going to be a second Life, but it's going to be like GTA-esque. So people are like, hey, you're the butcher for this shop. When people come in, you create the meat and give it to them.
God.
But hey, you might be robbed, so be prepared and stuff like that. So that's the next big updates coming to Pavlov. So again, VR is really awesome. And then you got the Valve Index that's getting ready to come out, which I'm not dropping $1,000 for. So yeah.
Sure?
No, I'm not. I am
We'll
extremely
stay
happy.
tuned on that.
I'm extremely happy with the Oculus and where the Oculus is standing right now.
You've been happy
we're
with
gonna-
every VR headset you ever had. And you
That's-
bought a new one every time.
Yeah, but this
We
one's
will
the one-
be doing a Valve Index review from Jacob next month, so
And
stay tuned
you
for
guys
that.
fund our Patreon account.
Yeah, there you go.
Have you ever considered looking at like the Oculus, what is it, Go or whatever, the like
See, the Go,
the tetherless ones or
the
whatever?
Quest is the new one
Or
that just
Quest,
came out.
yeah.
And it's interesting to me, but the only problem I have with the Quest is one, it's lower processing. It's kind of like a dumbed down version of
You're
it.
trading off for the mobility.
Because you're not, you're completely wireless, 100% wireless. But you don't have a PC running it. You do not have a PC running
Yeah.
your headset, so you do not get the powerhouse
here.
that you would
If you
normally
want.
get. So it's definitely one of those things where the Quest, yeah, you're wireless, but I'd rather have one wire sticking out my back and have a complete seamless experience.
Fair.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what I've been up to this month.
Did you like that Star Wars VR?
Loved it. I'm
Okay.
excited for episode 2. Episode 2 when it comes out.
Oh, it's not out yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Hopefully soon.
Okay.
Hopefully soon.
Nice.
Travis,
Well,
what games this month, brother?
last month my goal for the month was to play
To not
something
play something
something other than Destiny 2. And for 29 days I failed at that.
Until today.
But then the last couple days I've been playing a game
Yesterday.
that I started a long time ago but never finished. So I'll talk about that first. So Stardew Valley, I have it on my Switch. Came out probably like a year or two ago. It's been a couple years now. It's an indie game. People compare it to Animal Crossing.
I've heard some people compare it to like Terraria too.
Yeah, Terraria. So basically, the game starts. You're like some dude working in an office, and like he looks sad. I don't know. It's like an 8-bit game, and then you open up your desk drawer, and there's like a note from your grandpa or something that's dead. I don't remember exactly how it goes, but basically it says like, "Hey, open this when you get bored of your life." Right? So you open it up, and like it's a very gray office, and in it it gives you a deed to a farm out in the middle of nowhere in this town. Basically says, "This is my farm. I worked it for years. I want you to move out there if you ever get tired of living in the city." So your character gets up and they get off the bus and then they're in this town. You get there and the farm is totally overrun. Like it is a complete mess. It is complete junked.
Thanks, Grandpa.
The town is filled with all these different people. They all have names. There's probably like 30, 40 people in the town. They all have names. They all have either they're married to somebody or they have kids. And they have very interesting characters that all have their own personalities. And there's like people who sell things in the shops that like you can buy seeds and you can buy stuff for like actually.
And this is
being a
very
farmer.
similar to Animal Crossing, which
Yeah.
you've never played, but the more
Yeah.
I've seen you play it
You
and
can-
talk
It's a
about
lot
it.
like
You
Animal
can
Crossing.
buy seeds. You can
Except
buy,
you fight. There's fighting.
You can buy tools and stuff, and then also one of the plot lines is that there's a new superstore basically called a JoJo Mart that is on the edge of town. And if you go into the JoJo Mart, everything is way cheaper than it is at the small stores. But if you buy stuff in the JoJo Mart, the people in the stores aren't going to be able to, keep surviving.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to decide what you're going to do. There's like a rundown community center that is like a part of the quest that you can you get quests. People put stuff up on the town board like, "Hey, I need 2 fish to cook this, type of dinner that I want."
Just go to JoJo Mart and get it.
Yeah, well, you could do that, or you can go catch it. There's these mines that you can go down, and so there's mining, there's fishing, there's farming, animals.
Minecraft, but more.
You can do chores for people, and basically it's like simple life. You live on a farm. There's like a little restaurant and bar that's in the middle of the town, and you go in there at night, and everybody's in there, and they're all talking about each
It
other.
seems like the coziest game of all time,
It
along
kinda
with
has
Animal Crossing.
It
It's a
kind of has
cozy
a
game.
Twin Peaks vibe to it, of just like mysterious, weird characters that you don't know
Yeah.
what they're doing, and there's like a guy in a wheelchair that's by himself all the time, and you'll see him rolling around town, and then you'll go into his house and he'll tell you to leave, but you can kind of see what he's doing, and I don't know. You can basically build relationships.
Is
and
there a way to beat
friendships.
this game?
Is
Is there an ending?
So I don't really know because I haven't looked up a lot, but
Yeah.
my inkling is there's a lot of different quest lines, and there's like mastery quest lines of like become the best miner and adventurer, become the best fisherman, become the best farmer. But there is kind of a main quest, which is the mayor wants to see the town hall, which is completely abandoned and run down, and you go in and you see a ghost actually. The town hall is completely worn down, and the mayor tells you that your grandpa was the one that built it. And so
Grandpa's coming back.
yeah. So then you get out a Ouija board. No, I'm just kidding. Basically, they basically say like, hey, you know, it would be nice if somebody restored this community center.
Be
So
cool
I
if you
know
did it.
That is part of the main quest is you can restore that community center. You can get married in this game. I think you can like have
Sounds like my
kids.
type of
We didn't even have to do this
You
weekend.
can do all sorts of stuff. And so the game, when you start at spring and like you have an in-game calendar, and so there's 28 days of spring, and then there's 28 days of summer, and then fall, and then winter. I know there's like achievements for getting up to like year 7 and year 8 and stuff. So I you know, and a day goes by in about 10 minutes. So
Okay.
you run around and you do stuff, and then you have to go to bed and wake up and eat and stuff. So.
Thank you, Grandpa.
Yeah, it's a fun game. I bought it because it had such great reviews and people loved it. But the time that I bought it, it didn't really fit into what I was looking to play. You know, it's a very, very chill game. Like you wake up, you water your
Minecraft.
crops. I give some cat water to my cat. You know, I go look at the job board and walk around. So it's basically busy work, the game, but it's got like fun music and characters and stuff. So
Interesting.
It's like
if
me.
you've got like earlier today, I had like an hour. I just wanted to relax. I just started walking around. And I completed half of a season. You know, so
Would you equate this to work?
no, because
Okay.
it's fun. You
'Cause
know,
I remember going to work every day playing Mass Effect Andromeda.
no, it doesn't feel that way at all. It doesn't
That's
feel
a
like
different type
I
of
don't.
work.
Yeah.
It's
That's
more.
chain gang work.
It's more like, oh, if I
Unfortunately,
go back into the mine, I could get the last 400 gold that I need to build a chicken
Yeah.
coop, and okay, then my farm will look
Yeah,
better.
it's definitely Animal Crossing. I get that feel from it. At least inspired from Animal Crossing. But what's beautiful about the 8-bit format, at
Yeah.
least, is it has its own simplistic design and
Well,
appeal.
I
and
think what
charm.
makes it different than Animal Crossing is that it's not animals. Like, it is people.
Well, yeah.
And I don't know how many people live in the town in Animal Crossing, but
Depends, yeah.
there's like 40 people in the town, and I want to know, like, kind of like what's going on. They all have different, you know, there's some of them that are single, there's some of them that are married.
I
know,
think
so just
I think
figuring
you
out
would
what's
like the
going
new
on.
Animal Crossing that's going to be coming out soon.
But I'd actually think it sounds like Stardew Valley is a little bit more involved
It
than
is,
Animal
yeah.
Crossing.
It's a
I
little
think
more
I don't know
involved.
if you would. I think you'd run back to Stardew.
Really?
There's
Yeah.
a lot of depth, and there's
If
a
you
lot
like
of...
if you like the depth, then you won't. I think you would get kind of bored of Animal
Yeah.
Crossing.
I think that's
But if you
true.
start with Animal Crossing and you go, I want a little bit more depth.
Like in Animal Crossing, how does the agriculture work? You just plant seeds, and the next day it's there?
No, you got to plan on
You can water stuff. You can grow different types of plants, and you know some of them like will actually drop seeds and like bamboo shoots or like
Are there
if you drop
seasons, and can you get
Yeah.
married?
yeah,
seasons.
and that's like one of the big highlights of the new one is like they did a lot more with the seasons. There were seasons before already, but
Another cool thing was about it was well, at least I thought it was always quirky, but now it's become a running joke because you're always trying to pay off this large debt. So your goal in the game is you're paying off Tom.
If that sounds
stress
fun to
me
you,
the hell
if that
out.
sounds fun to you, then check
well,
out
because
Animal
it's not
Crossing.
even like you have to make
That's
like payments.
like
Yeah.
that's like student loans. That's
Well,
what I actually.
I have
Because
enough
it's not-
loans
'Cause
already.
It's not like a monthly
Right.
thing. It's like, oh, I sold a bunch of this stuff I farmed out. I'll pay a little bit towards my house, and then if you pay it off, then you can get like the upgraded model,
I
and so
see.
like you get more
Yeah.
rooms or different features
Yeah.
and things like that.
And the coolest thing is visiting other people's houses because like they put a lot of work.
That's what I was
into
gonna say. When this town, it's not like a Pokemon where it's just a bunch of houses and then a Pokemon Center in the middle. Like every house looks different on the outside, different on the inside. There are
Yeah.
rooms you can only go in if you become close enough friends with certain people.
Yeah,
So like you can go in the living room for most houses, but then like there's a second section with like their kitchen and their living room, like second like they're more of a family room. You can't really go in there until you're friends with the family, and then you can unlock people's bedrooms.
Nice.
I don't think
Just
it's,
like in real
I
life.
don't think it's always like that because there's one I showed you, Zach. I go in and I talked to the mom a couple times in town. She's like, "Yeah, my son. He just if you ever see him, like we're trying to get him to talk to more people." So I go in their house and his room is obviously locked because I'm not friends with him. But you can see because it's top down. You can see he's in there with like 2 or 3 guitar amps, like a lava lamp, and he's like jamming out, you know. And so then I talked to him outside, and he's like, I don't have friends or something like that. And so you're like, I wonder what's going on with this kid. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, you can eventually hang out with him in his room, you know, as friends. So,
That's friends. That's friends.
so that's
like a chill
Stardew
game.
Valley. And then I'm still playing Destiny right now. What I'm working on is I'm working on moving up in the competitive ranks.
Yeah.
So there are guns that you can only unlock if you get to a certain level in the competitive ranks.
Yeah.
And I'm going for a couple of those guns. There's a new season and a new expansion coming out called Shadowkeep that I'm really excited about. So Destiny 2 is It's a phenomenal game. It is probably top 3 favorite games this generation. It has a real shot at number 1 for me. I love it so much. I've been playing it so much. So
I
well, Breath of the Wild's number 1.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I really feel the effects of Destiny because I tried getting back in it with Travis, and I'm still interested. I think I'm interested in the PvE. When I played the PvP, you can definitely tell the meta's changed, and we were talking about that.
Yeah.
And it made my blood boil.
when we used to play, it was dual primaries. You couldn't have a special slot gun.
Yeah.
And so it was like auto rifles,
hand cannons,
scout rifles,
stuff
Mida
like that.
mini tool.
Which again, if people used hand cannons back then, that wasn't a big deal because it still only took a couple shots to do their deal. But you gotten good with hand cannons. Well, now they've introduced where you can use snipers and other things as your primaries, and you are getting one-shotted quite a bit.
It's all hand cannons,
Shotguns.
some pulse rifle, shotguns, snipers, and people running fast, getting right up on you,
So
aping you. And so Jacob doesn't have the new expansion, so he
No.
can only use dual primaries. Everybody else has shotguns running around.
So I'm experiencing some of the reasons, that sucks about being behind in the game.
Yeah.
Hopefully, when they release the whole free to everyone and they start releasing
October 1st, yeah.
the DLC, that starts to level out.
Yeah. They
which-
actually announce all of what you'll get as part of New Light. Like, you'll get access to all the areas. You won't get access to all the missions, but honestly, I don't play the Forsaken missions. Once you play it once, I'm sure you played Destiny.
I have.
You don't play the campaign missions again after you beat the campaign. There's a billion other things to do. So
I didn't play it very much, but
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I understand what you're saying.
Destiny has a niche that they're certainly still scratching, and hopefully when they introduce everyone else into the world of Destiny, maybe the meta will change a little bit. I'm not a big fan of it, but I'm also not that experienced in it, so that's probably why I'm being so down on it. But it's fun. I still have fun with it. It's still a phenomenal shooter. It's a very clean shooter. You are definitely experiencing everything that should be, not your Call of Duty style, not anything like that, Halo or anything like that. I'm not a fan of the current meta because I'm bad at it. So
you also don't have access. You jumped in randomly one night and jumped into multiplayer without. You don't have access to any of the new guns. You haven't even played the meta, honestly, because you haven't had access to it.
I think I can smell a Destiny hangout coming our way, and I'll jump in when it's free, and maybe we'll do a
That'd be fun.
big old thing. So, and what's that? What's that?
We're making moves.
Whoever put their phone right here.
That was me. I guess I was warning about.
Right here's the wet cast for Travis. You get a look at him.
We're not gonna let him back in once he. Yeah,
He's gone, man.
All right,
was the
guys,
last you
that
saw
was
him.
Travis's podcast.
that was the last one.
Yeah. He's officially walked up a set.
On a big note.
What was the topic of discussion?
So
have
what
you
are
been
you
playing
playing
this
lately? What's
Okay, so a little bit of each. Never played Stardew or nothing like that. Never done it. I'm a kind of an old school gamer, so I picked up a PlayStation Classic.
yeah.
Nice.
And we talked about that last time because I modded mine, did all this stuff, but
Oh,
it's
you
so
did?
yeah,
Okay.
it's so fun to go back and play all that old stuff.
It really is, man. It's just it really is like a slap in the face with the past, and it just brings me back to a good time. So sorry if my voice keeps cracking, but
Oh, you're fine.
so they were on sale. I went to a Walmart one day, and they were just I think they sell for $60.
They used to,
Yeah.
So there was a sale going on. It was here, it could be yours out the door for $20-something.
Yeah.
The tag was still up, so I brought it up. The tag was out of date, but she was like, well, since it's still up, I have to give it to you for that price. So I got a PlayStation Classic for $20-something.
Yeah, it's so cheap now.
Yeah. And so I knew when they released or they announced that they were bringing out a PlayStation Classic, I knew what games to expect. The number one that caught my eye, and I was like, I don't care what's on it. Metal Gear Solid. So of course, I picked it up, and to this day, Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation 1 is my favorite game of all time. Story wise, it is the greatest game. But I'm kind of disappointed with the games they put on it. There was some really.
I think you and everybody else.
Yeah, everyone in the world.
I haven't read no reviews. I'm pretty new to this,
When
but
you're bored one night, go to a Reddit, go to a Neo, whatever you want to go to, and just type in PlayStation
but
Classic.
I must say, the price I paid for it for that
Yeah.
that deal.
Oh, of course.
I mean, you
It's
get
worth the $15 even for that. Yeah.
I got
you-
one for
you
my
get-
birthday for $20. I'm happy with it.
I
as
spent
it is.
$100 on it.
you get Metal Gear Solid, Final Fantasy VII,
I was playing Tekken 3.
Tekken
That
3.
game is
Oh
great.
man, I love Tekken 3.
Ridge
So,
Racer and
Even at that price, if you paid each game for $4, you made a deal. You know what I mean? For 15.
when I paid $20-something for it, I was like, you know what?
Otherwise.
I was like, I paid $20 for Metal Gear Solid. It would have been a lot more
Yeah.
if I wanted to go back and buy like an actual PlayStation. So I've been going back playing some PlayStation 1, Tekken 3, Final Fantasy 7, Metal Gear Solid. I'm not going to bore you guys to death, but I could go on for days about Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah,
that is
that's fair.
the greatest game of all time,
You
story-wise.
got some fans in the
I was
pool.
gonna say this is the right crowd for
Well,
it.
I was about to say, I feel comfortable saying it because that really is just like the pinnacle of PlayStation for me, Metal Gear Solid,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So, other than that, when I hop on the PC, I'm usually playing with some friends, which is like Overwatch, maybe some Ghost Recon
So
Wildlands.
You're still in the Overwatch world.
A little bit, yeah.
How is that? How is that treating you?
Because they've added quite a couple characters.
Yeah,
I don't hear a
they
lot
did
about
add,
it
they
now.
did add, but in the past month I haven't played that much. But when I do, you know, it's just something fun to hop on with some friends.
I was gonna say,
You
especially
know,
if you're
it's
playing
like-
with friends.
Best say there's no storyline or nothing. You just hop on, go through a match, whatever. But I love some Overwatch, Ghost Recon Wildlands, stuff like that. But
Yeah.
as far as like sitting down and gaming, I'm sorry to sound like a retro guy, but it's definitely some Metal Gear Solid and some Final Fantasy
No
7.
shame in retro play, but
No shame. No
I
shame.
actually would be interested to play Metal Gear Solid again because when I first played it, I had it for the PSP, and I
Yeah.
did like the
Ooh, ew.
virtual.
the portable.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
well, no, it was just like the port, like
The
the,
port for
classic.
the PS1
yeah,
classic,
the
yeah.
port. So like, it's not even like a remake or anything like that. Like, I just played it that way, and it was the
Crappy.
weirdest thing to like play on this little screen or whatever to
Yeah,
play
yeah.
a full console game.
Yeah.
But
Going back to retro, I'm with this guy this month. Even though I played literally the newest game on the newest headset you could ever do, so scratch that. But other than that, I had to go back to the past, and it was a game I've complained about it on Twitter. But there's a game called Xenosaga. It was an old RPG on PlayStation 2. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Well, I remember that name, but I never played.
Yeah.
I don't remember that name, but
But you
I remember.
recognize it, yeah. Yeah.
So, being a PlayStation guy, do you remember Parasite Eve? Anybody?
Yeah. I never
That-
played it, but that's on PS1 too.
Man, when the PlayStation 1 came out and there was that demo and it gave you the trailer of Parasite Eve, to this day I watch it
Yeah.
because it was it really just brought you in. It was so captivative.
Yeah.
And I went back and played it and I'm just like, oh god, this the controls are a little bad, but the game was so good. But not to cut you off,
Yeah.
please continue. Xeno.
But yeah, Xenosaga. So this was they made 3 games total. It was supposed to be like 8. They were supposed to make like 6 or 8 or something. But it's from the same people, same type of world as Xenogears on PS1. Another like classic RPG. So I will probably do another whole video on this series and on its own because this game like changed my life. I could go on for hours on how this like linked up with a bunch of stuff in my life, but what has happened is this game for years they've just put out. People are like, "Where is the HD remaster? How can I play this on newer? It's only on PS2. You can only play it on that one console. How can I play it?" And they'll put out some. Yeah, might could happen. And all like the people that worked on it are still there at Namco Bandai. All that stuff is like, yeah, it could happen.
It's your Demon Souls.
We might have to. And I'm just like, gosh. And then like a couple years ago, they said it can happen if we get enough signatures. And I don't know, maybe the money's there. It's still on the table. And I was like, I'm getting tired of freaking waiting.
Right.
So I got tired of waiting. And I checked out. And here's another big thing with me. And we talked about it on the podcast before. Dragon Quest XI was a big one where I was like, I cannot deal with turn-based RPGs in my late 20s. It's not happening. With all the stuff I got to do, I have to have 2 times speed because you can emulate games and fast forward them and make them faster. That is the way I think to play those old turn-based because you can't. I am tired of waiting for Billy in my RPG party to go up and like do his animation and just hit and then waddle back and that take 40 minutes, buzz off. So I installed an emulator. This is all legal. I did all legal. I own the copy of the game. Back off, cops. Emulation cops.
Got it.
Back off, emulation cops. But I got it finally running, and it was the most beautiful thing on planet Earth. Seeing this game, I haven't played it in over 15 years, like 15 years since playing this.
It feels so good.
And
to
got
jump
it
back to that.
and got it running 60 frames per second, 2K resolution with the 2x speed on the thing. I'm having a good time. I'm only at the beginning. This game I would compare to, again, Xenogears, because it's from the same kind of people.
Right.
And I would compare this was my kind of gateway drug into Evangelion or some of these more like heavy kind of series, because it was all this like, oh, what's this kind of artifact, and all these like, religious terms they're using, and it's like it's kind of scary at parts, and kind of like this deep dark world that's in it. So I love that stuff. I love all that. It's all anime style and whatever else. So I'll check back in. I might make a whole video kind of about that because of where that kind of led me in my life. It's kind of weird to say, but it runs great. Check it out. Xenosaga. Highly recommend. Awesome RPG. Amazing RPG.
Never played it, but I'll have to check it out. Honestly,
It is very great. I think that's it for me for the gaming side, but that is not it for the gaming world.
Yeah.
that's right.
We were employed in this hot tub. We're employed for this podcast, but
Wait,
some
I get a
people,
check?
yeah, it's coming. It's coming in the mail later. GameStop has laid off some people, and
Yeah.
Game Informer was kind of on shaky ground this month. They've laid off. They've done another
Yeah.
string of layoffs and stuff. So I think that's kind of on the chopping block. I think it's kind of heading that way, right?
have
Like,
subscription to Game Informer just because.
That's why they come to our house.
and yeah, that's why they come to. Literally, they just sit.
found out why.
You're gamers, please read this.
Yeah.
Like,
They sit next to our toilet, and occasionally we use it for toilet paper. But that's
I do flip
exactly.
through them sometimes.
That's occasionally what we
I
do with
flip
that.
through them sometimes.
But no, it just comes down to where I think GameStop's poor model is finally catching up to them, and of course e-commerce. Again, they are not hip with e-commerce, and they are falling behind to the Amazons, and Walmart is catching up to them even with game sales. So you're going to see that this company start chopping heads, and Game Informer is something that we can do it digitally.
Yeah.
Why have we not done it digitally yet? And they've offered digital copies of it, and people just aren't signing up for it. So you're going to see, I think, that division disappear by the end of the year.
yeah, I think that's like Gonzo. I think somebody jumped the gun on Twitter and was like, "Yeah, I think it's headed. They're gonna close doors," and people are like, "That's not happening." Some people are still there and they're still working, but
they're going to make an announcement that Game Informer is no longer going to be a thing. And I mean,
it
but-
bums me out because I have so much nostalgia for these magazines.
Yeah.
So in that, every time we see a new Game Informer, I'm like, that's cool. But I gotta be honest, even though I'm nostalgic for it, we're so far down the
Yeah.
road. Like official
Yeah.
Xbox magazine, Nintendo Power,
Yeah.
all the ones I cared about are
Nintendo
gone.
Power.
So I still
Yeah.
cling to Game Informer, even though I have no nostalgia for Game Informer. It's
they're
more
the
just
last
what they
kind of big
represent.
one. They're the
Yeah.
last big.
I was never a big Game Informer guy, but it's what they represent. But even still, I feel like the other day I opened one up, new one, flip, Apex Legends review. I'm
Yep.
like, you are so late. Nobody
Yeah.
cares.
Yeah.
Like, so sometimes
It's-
what I do like is they still get breaking things for their game previews.
Yeah, I got you.
They still get previews for games that are really like, hey, Game Informer's doing a preview on Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 this month, and they will do a deep dive, and they'll have videos on YouTube and stuff. I just think, like, at some point, they really probably do need to abandon the physical magazine
Copy.
piece and just be, like, a group that gets those previews, and I don't know how that
Do you agree, Danny?
works. But.
What's that?
Do you agree?
I agree.
you're gonna see that jump. And again, Game Informer unfortunately has followed the IGN format, which again, no harm on IGN. It's just what they do. But IGN does it in a digital platform that's way 10 times better.
Yeah.
So why in the world would someone even want the physical copy of IGN when you?
Some
can have
people
it
just like to
better?
flip through that stuff, and even like you guys, this every once in a while. But I don't think it's enough to sustainable. It's not.
It's
And
not
it's
enough
good.
to sustain
It's a
salaries
fun,
for it.
casual thing, but, like, if you didn't have it just because of a GameStop,
Yeah.
so that's the untold thing in all this. Why has Game Informer lasted? Because they incentivize people if you're a member of GameStop. But where's GameStop going? Nowhere in a hurry. Let's be real. What is the future for Game Informer? I feel for the people that are employed there. Because my dream when I was a kid was like, I'd love to work for official Xbox magazine.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing. But that's just because you love games and that's
Welcome
ways
to the
you
world
keep
of
up with
digital
them.
media.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And I'm gonna say, I mean, everyone knows that it was going down the toilet when they're literally like, hey, back then Game Informer used to cost like $5 a year with your subscription. Now they're just tacking it on for free because they're like, we have people who are employed that need to get this stuff out. They got to give a means to their work.
Well, if I'm a GameStop CEO and we're in the financial situation we are, I'm going to stop and say, what value is this bringing to us and to our customers?
They're starting.
Not driving people back. If you had coupons for GameStop inside of it or some, I don't know, like
They don't.
hey, if you subscribe to Game Informer, here's exclusive deal you only get. But like, it doesn't work, man.
So here's
Like,
what
it's
Game
just
Informer is
not-
good for. Two things. One, if you forgot your phone on the crapper and
Yes,
you need
it
to
has bailed me out a couple times.
or two, you forgot your toilet paper, but just so you know, it doesn't flush easy. So that's the two things Game Informer is good for.
Apex Legends.
Yeah, that's right there.
I remember when I was a kid and that Nintendo Power that was talking about Twilight Princess came out. And I just was looking at those screenshots.
Oh God, yeah. When Nintendo
And
Power
when
Twilight
Mass
Princess. Yeah.
Effect, official Xbox Magazine did a big blowout on the first Mass Effect, and I was a big Knights of the Old Republic fan, and just flipping through and reading everything. But now when I open those things up, I already know most of what's in there. Like, I'm not doing that, and so, and I don't think kids today are doing that, and so it just doesn't work.
So I don't know how much longer GameStop has. They laid off like a lot of regional people. Like that was this email went out or whatever, but it was a lot of the regional like head people of all these departments.
Well, GameStop
I don't know.
They flipped the motto in terms of like they're now moving towards like merchandising.
Yeah,
Less
they
about
started
the gaming.
they started doing all the Funko Pops and stuff you could buy there, but and they bought
Change
they
the
bought
name to Nerd Stop and just like, here's tables, play D&D, please
Yep.
buy
I was
some.
gonna
Well,
say,
Honestly, they might succeed.
Yeah,
I think how they could succeed still is go back to what EB Games was they had all these retro. You had NES games, you had SNES games, so
Yeah.
it might
tried
be
that.
it might be kind of a retro place.
They
But
tried that through their online market, but the issue is people don't want to ship their stuff in and then have it shipped back and all that stuff. Like when you sell, like if you tell them like, hey, I'm gonna sell an SNES, they'll give you an online price based on what you tell them. But when they get it and inspect it, it's actually something completely different.
Yeah.
So they'll tell you like, hey, we'll give you $40 for your SNES when you send it in. And they say, well, upon its inspection, it's only worth $29 now.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
I think they're gonna start closing even more stores and make it more kind of geared towards that retro. Like I think that's the only way forward. I don't know. I think they'll still hold. It sounds like next gen is still gonna have disc, in it. So I think.
So that I'm sitting here, I'm not gonna lie. I had no idea that GameStop was killing employees like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it just shows you that I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
The whole store, the video game store organization is definitely on a downfall, and I've seen it since I was a little kid. A lot of people were just like, man, they're just not going to be along that
guys,
much.
Look, because you haven't understand this now. I work in logistics, just so you guys have an understanding of background. I mean, if you're not the Amazon right now, you are in trouble. Like Amazon's coming for every industry, and they're coming at them hard.
I agree.
And they are trying to grow to grow their company.
But
And
I think on top of everything, okay, they're running into problems with, people are downloading, like a lot of the sales from PlayStation came from download versus whatever. People are shifting towards that. Who here doesn't have a GameStop horror store? I mean, that's a segment of our podcast, is Jacob's GameStop Woes. They've treated not only their customers like garbage throughout the years, but if you can go on, if you type in YouTube and put in like employee GameStop story, dude, you're gonna get pages and pages of people saying like, this is what they did to us. So it's like,
hey, this is something cool. I mean, our friend Kenny, which you've seen on the podcast, he has been on a Pokemon card frenzy lately, and he actually had a situation where I'm not gonna go into detail just in case of some reason something was said. But he had a situation
their
where
GameStop's about to close.
Yeah, oh gosh. But he had a situation where a GameStop employee is kind of doing something to where he's giving them a way to get a special Hidden Fates card set. So, which is cool of GameStop because they're like, hey, we're getting these in, we're going to get this to you because if you ever heard about what Hidden Fates is, people are coming in and just buy. They're amiibos right now. So, there's moments when GameStop can really shine, but that's the people, not the company. That's what it is eventually.
And that's the exception versus what seems like a more general experience that we've all had with theirs.
I mean, this might be a little off, but like if I have one bad GameStop story, it's this.
Danny's GameStop woes.
Here we go.
So when Mortal Kombat X was announced, they were like, if you pre-order it, you're gonna get Goro as a fightable character, or whatever. So I paid for the game. I paid for everything. I was like, oh, so it's fully paid off? Yes. So I pre-ordered it, and then I went in the day of release, and they're like, well, you still owe $16 on this game. I'm like, how?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I
didn't
paid-
pay
I
the
paid
full
it off.
50. I'm like, yes, I did. Here's my receipt. And they're like, oh, they didn't add. I can't remember what it was. It was so long ago. But they were like, well, something went wrong. You still own $16.
Yeah.
I didn't make a big scene. I'm not a big scene kind of guy. But between words, there was...
Yeah.
I paid $65, and it said, boom. I even asked, before I left, I said, am I done?
Yeah.
Everything's cool. They're like, absolutely. On the day of release, you come and get it. On the day of release, you still own $16.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm not going into details.
Yeah.
I got my game. I didn't have to pay that $60.
I wonder. I don't know the full details either, but I think what happened actually was, I could be wrong with this. People maybe can correct me or whatever. You had to pay more than $60 to get all the fighters to unlock that full game. I remember something with Mortal Kombat. Do you remember? Did you see anything on that?
Well,
I think there was something going on with that.
11?
I know that was X. That was more.
I thought X was something like that.
11 because X actually came out and X was like this was like Mortal Kombat we've been waiting for for a while. But
I thought you had to buy the rest of the
That was
characters.
X, right?
Yeah,
Well, that came out in different packs. You know, we're releasing Bo Raicho and Cyborg and all these other characters. You know, you could buy those on your own fruit.
So you had to pay an extra $15 on top of what you had paid $65.
From what they said, dude, they said that it was, oh, well, that's to get Goro. I'm like, but if you pre-order it, that's what gets Goro free.
yeah.
Yeah. So you know what? Hey,
You're exclusively.
I
able to
am
buy
sad
this.
for the employees losing their jobs, but man, I'm going to do the biggest hip hip hooray when the company falls. But
Not gonna lie.
sorry to the employees, but
I'm not gonna lie, I'm very sorry to anybody who
Yeah.
loses their job. That is a terrible
Yeah, it
thing.
sucks.
But
when you have a terrible company and just sneaky tactics and sneaky things that make your employees do sneaky things for sales wise,
right,
you're garbage. You're garbage. Get out of here.
you garbage.
You're garbage. That's straight from the
I absolutely
GameStop
agree.
hater right here.
Sorry to the employees. Jobs are everything, but man, the company you're working for
Better
is.
job.
Yeah. Think. Go next door. Go to Panera. I don't know. So we talk about more than games here. A bombshell hit the movie industry this month. The glasses are back on. We're taking the red pill. Matrix 4 is back. It's coming back.
honestly, I could care less. If I'm being honest with you,
Like,
he's
hey,
taking.
let's-
I'm taking the blue pill.
Taking the blue
on this
pill.
one.
Can
And-
All right.
Can I go ahead and
Are you
say
taking
that?
the red pill, the blue pill?
Let me just say that I fully appreciate.
You're in a hot tub. It's
you're
what
right,
you're
you think it.
you're
No.
imagining. You're in a hot tub.
I appreciate the Matrix movies. I loved number 1 and 2, but I'm on his side. I
Blue
could
pill.
care less. I'm not.
Blue
I'm
pillars.
Okay.
I'm not very much into
Okay,
the
blue
movies,
pillars.
but
I'm taking the red pill. Listen,
Nice.
listen. Matrix 1, freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Matrix 2 and 3, also freaking awesome. I had so much fun with those movies. Matrix 2 is kind of but the ending is so awesome.
Yeah.
When the guy is like, he's got Agent Smith in him, and they're in the world and they're out of the world.
I think one scene is on its own as this crazy
Yeah.
thing. I think it's the best. 2 and 3 is still fun. People
They're
crap on
fun.
2 and
I
3, but
think they're all
started
great,
a
yeah.
trend.
Yes.
Matrix 1 definitely started
Listen,
a trend.
I know that by the end of it, it's like, wait, who's the one? Wait, what's
Yeah.
going on? They got loosey-goosey with the rules. I think that intellectual property is there's so much there. You can
Yeah.
do so much with it. The Animatrix shows that.
Yeah.
If you've
Yeah.
ever watched the Animatrix, it's all these different animated shorts and all these different styles that just touch on different people in the Matrix, out of the Matrix, that got out of the Matrix, that broke the Matrix. And I couldn't be happier that they're
Yeah.
doing something with it. I think it's great. I think that it should get, of all the things that are getting soft rebooted these days, Matrix is very deserving.
I'm
Very
still
deserving.
standing in front of Morpheus looking at the pills, trying to decide,
He's taking
trying
neither
to
pill.
decide which one. Because I'm with you that I loved all 3 of those movies. That was like I remember when my dad introduced me. He saw like the collection at Walmart or whatever, and he was like, "Son, we need to go see these like right now." I didn't realize they had this collection, and so like we went and bought it, went and like watched them all on a weekend or whatever. And it's like I love those movies. They're some of my favorite movies. But like if it is still following Neo and all that stuff, then like to a point, they kind of ended that storyline.
Yeah.
So maybe if anyone can do it, I have at least some semblance of faith in.
Going back to
in
video,
Keanu.
going back to video games a little bit with staying with the Matrix. Does anybody remember Enter the Matrix on PlayStation 2?
PlayStation 2, it was hot trash.
Matrix.
What? I loved it.
Uh-oh.
It was great. I
There's
loved
a
it.
Matrix. There's a different Matrix games. I think it was Matrix Retribution or Matrix something.
It was the one that had the green lines on it.
But oh my.
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about
God.
now.
Enter the
Neo,
one
with the green line.
It was Enter the Matrix. You were like, oh man.
Matrix Path of Neo.
Let me help
What's
you
Will
here.
Smith's
Look.
wife?
Will Smith.
Will Smith's wife.
James
iRobot.
Oh, that's what. You know what'll get me to take the blue pill if Jaden Smith is the new guy in the Matrix.
Let me explain something. I'm gonna give you the whole Matrix timeline in the most civil fashion I can. Matrix 1 came out, masterpiece, top of the line, movie sales everywhere, money floating from the skies. All right, but then they introduced Matrix 2, and it's just like, oh, we could have done better. But hey, masterpiece, money from the skies. But it's okay. Then they're like, let's recast the whole movie, bring in Ashton Kutcher. You got butterfly effect. Butterfly effect hits the malls, and people are like, oh no, this isn't what we're looking for. They realize, oh no, bad idea. Then introduce it in Matrix 3, and they're just like, wow, this is terrible, hot trash.
Oh.
But we won't miss on 4.
Jada Pinkett.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking of.
That's who
Jada Pinkett. His wife.
Why did I say James?
She was a
Jade Smith was in the womb when all this stuff was going on.
Jada Pinkett was a playable character in Enter the Matrix, PlayStation 2. I remember when I got that. Not a big Matrix fan. I loved the first one, second one, but when that game came out, man, it was just so cool to do that stuff,
Yeah.
It's currently raining. It's because God's crying because we're talking about this hot trash of a movie series. So
wow.
let's go ahead.
Blue
and-
pill to the extreme. Dude, I think he might be Agent.
I am an agent.
No.
Agent where?
Mr.
It's
Jacobson.
just like any other series. The first movie set an awesome foundation,
Yes.
really got people in,
Tobey
and
Maguire.
then just like
the Matrix.
like Evangelion or several other series or movies, like the more it goes on, like the more they're like, whoa, there's more to it. Like you're
Yeah,
peeling
yeah.
back the
Oh
layers.
yeah, like Shrek, like
and
an
so
onion.
like
Peeling back an onion.
yeah, so like some people like they get lost in like how much deeper that they go, but like I'm in it for the whole thing. So I don't know.
I love the first, like I said. Love the second, third. I don't like as much as the first, but they're fun, and they haven't. It hasn't felt like they've milked the series like they had the Animatrix and stuff. It's like it's just now been the 20-year anniversary.
Ashton Kutcher in, I just lost all connection.
I don't know what he's talking about. He's an agent.
either.
He's an agent. He's
I
glitching
really
out.
don't.
He's glitching out.
Isn't that the one where
But-
he nosebleed and he ended up in a different
The
time realm?
butterfly effect is not related to the Matrix.
But he was taking the red pill. That's what made his nose bleed, and then he ended up in another
No, the
time.
butterfly effect has nothing to do with the Matrix.
Hold,
I'm still laughing.
nose and
I'm-
hold
grabbing my
you-
nose.
hold
I'm
your,
looking up.
You know
hold your
what-
breath
you know what
and
I'm
just
s-
wait for this conversation.
Okay, well, he's gonna come up when we're done. I'm still laughing. He just said just now, yeah, that game it had the green lines on it. That's how you're gonna distinguish the Matrix games or whatever. The one with the green lines on it. Wow, I think he's dead. I think he took the red pill. He's gonna come back. Well, I'm gonna keep talking about the Matrix. So I'm looking forward to it. One of the Wachowskis, not both the Wachowskis, are coming back to do it, but I'm looking forward to it.
Wait. Only one of them's coming?
Only one
Yeah,
of them.
only
Yep,
one of
only
them's
one of them's coming back.
Why?
Am I in the Matrix?
Yes, you are. Welcome back.
Wait,
Oh, no.
Wait, they make every movie together.
Except this one.
Why only one?
I don't know.
Like,
But you know who is coming back? Cyberpunk 2077.
yeah.
I'm back.
We've got
I've heard
Keanu
about
Reeves is coming back. Hey,
Oh.
I think it is a perfect storm now of him coming back and
Yeah.
Cyberpunk
You should
and
get the
John Wick.
guys
John Wick,
involved.
yeah.
And John Wick. I think it's so. Whatever. I'm going to be there day one. I'll go see it and we'll have a
Yeah.
fun time. So coming soon. We'll see how that
To a
goes.
theater near you.
To theater near you. What else?
When
We've-
you said there was a big movie bombshell, I did not think you were talking
I was
about
thought you were going to
Matrix.
talk Joker.
Oh.
Ooh, Joker.
Good
now,
topic.
now we
I
haven't
also
seen.
didn't think you were talking about that, but let's talk about Joker first.
Okay, we haven't seen Joker.
it, but I'm just telling you right now, rumors are coming out and things are coming out about this movie and saying it's going to be one of the greatest movies of this year.
It's a masterpiece.
I
People are
got-
saying.
I'm,
That trailer itself is so like
It's a great trailer.
I
oh,
was
it's
not-
so good.
I was not interested. We were talking about on the car ride yesterday, and I was like, "Is this like a Joker origin story?" What? And apparently, it's something completely different.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, like I'm into that then.
Yeah.
Because DC's so fricked up, so the farther away they can get away from DC in general, even though they're using DC's assets, I'm all aboard it. And apparently, if people come out saying this is going to be the greatest movie of all time, I want to see it. I want to see what this... Apparently, the actor, I forget, it was Robert...
Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh, my bad.
So-
he's really into this role, too.
So, being new to the channel and a new guy on the Dweebs channel, I must say, I would like to bring this topic up. I'm sure it's been brought up before. Have you all watched all the Batman series?
Yes.
All of them, all the Jokers. What's your favorite Joker?
Oh, of course, it's Heath Ledger.
It has to be Heath Ledger.
Yep.
I don't know.
Joker.
I'm gonna have to say Jack Nicholson.
Oh,
Jack
I'm not-
Nicholson was good.
I'm not one bit am I degrading at all.
He
Heath Ledger made the Joker to a point where he is recognized
Yeah.
from here on out forever. But man, just growing up, people are gonna hate me, and I'm sorry, but Jack Nicholson, he nailed that gangster type.
Yeah, he got that gangster.
He had that mafia type.
Crime.
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Let's get that side. I love it, but no BS. I loved Heath Ledger. He was incredible,
We're not discussing.
and it's crazy. And you made an impact on the world when it's Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger. So I mean, absolutely, I love it. But
I'm curious to find out when he was preparing for the new Joker role. That we're about to see, hopefully, here in a few little bit. What has inspired him? Because I'm sure he had to go back and watch all the past Jokers.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
but I'm excited for the whole new take. Like, this
Well, I think
isn't-
Joaquin Phoenix is an incredible actor already.
I
All
was
of his
gonna say,
all of his
the
other
new
movies.
the new trailer looks incredible. I cannot wait to see it.
Yeah.
It could be, you know what? In a month or two, we could be sitting here and being like, "What do you think now?" and talking about the new guy
Yeah.
with the other three. And the trailer was incredible. I loved it. I cannot wait to see it.
I just hope if it's as good as it is, you don't see DC try to pull him into a let's go do a Suicide Squad 2 and just frick it. you
No,
know?
I think that from my understanding,
I agree, brother.
What something a lot of people don't maybe realize is Martin Scorsese was a producer on this new one.
Oh, really?
And
really?
The goal for this new Joker movie was DC has said they've got their little cinematic universe with Aquaman and all these people, but that they wanted to use the DC property to also make one-offs of just what if these were like real characters? Like what if they really happened? What would it be like?
Yeah.
And this is the first one of those, so it won't connect to anything else. It's just so even if this movie does great, if they ever made a sequel to this movie, that's fine. But it's not going to connect back to like the Superman and the Batman.
You
movie.
say
And
that.
not saying nothing bad about anybody watching, but Martin Scorsese. I can't pronounce his name.
Joaquin
Yeah,
Phoenix.
Martin Scorsese. Martin Scorsese. He is a genius as a director, and he did The Wolf of Wall Street. He did Goodfellas.
Yeah.
I have full absolute
Yeah.
like I am ready to see his films. He's going to take
He
it
was just involved
to.
in the production on the front end of he was interested in it. So
He's a
We'll
genius.
see. I'm excited. You'll be hearing about it from us here soon.
Yeah. So Joker. Ha ha ha. I am the Joker. That's my Joker. I might be the next best Joker.
Not the whole ha 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 with the.
You want to know how I got these scars?
I put a razor
I like
in my
that he's
mouth.
going to be a
and,
stand-up comedian. I just think that's cool. Like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
stand-up comedian.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, the other big thing that happened in the movie world stuff is Spider-Man. We're in kind of an in-between state, and by the time this podcast might even go up, they'll figure it out. But Spider-Man, Disney and Sony were, trading blows trying to get this to work, and it didn't work out. People freaking out, people choosing sides. What do you guys think? What do you think's going to happen? I think they're going to figure it out,
Bill,
It is such a big
hope they
property.
do.
It's such a big property, they're going to figure it out.
So,
Go ahead.
what a lot of people don't realize is when the news first dropped, everybody turned on Sony with knives, like immediately. And if you've ever watched this podcast, I do not forgive Sony Pictures for very much. They make some crappy movies. Amy Pascal is part of some of the worst movies ever. Freaking the Ghostbusters reboot, Amazing Spider-Man 2. Just they've mishandled a lot of things in the past. But this was not Sony's fault.
Yeah.
They weren't renegotiating a new deal because their deal was expiring. They had a deal. And the deal was Marvel gives Kevin Feige to Sony to help lead the Spider-Man movie. But Sony still marketed the movie. Sony still produced the movie. Sony still directed the movies. It was the only thing Disney was providing was MCU integration and Kevin Feige's time to help kind of guide what it should be. Sony paid for every bit of the movie, and Sony made 80% or 90% of the profit. So Marvel was getting 10% of the profit and 100% of merchandising.
Yeah.
Which means any toy that says Spider-Man Homecoming or Far From Home, Disney took 100% of it.
And that is
And that
nuts.
is
If you don't
freaking
how much
So
merchandise
Disney
sales
was
are.
getting 100% merchandising, 10% off the top gross, and all they had to do was loan out a producer. And they were getting Spider-Man for all their movies. So then, what they came back and asked for on this most recent round, where they said, we want a new deal, and somebody's like, well, we have a deal, we're happy with, but we can talk about something because it's gone really well. What Disney, when it came out, what they asked for, they are bastards for this, man. Disney asked for 50% split of the gross income of the movie.
Really?
They still wanted 100% of the merchandising, but they also asked for 15% and 100% of merchandising for every other Marvel character Sony owns. Venom, all the other characters that they're working on making movies for.
Wow.
That is completely different than what they had in the first place.
Yeah.
And so Disney was pushing for that, and Sony counteroffered and said, no, we're not doing that. We're not letting you in on Venom and all this other stuff. That would mean that Disney would own Into the Spider-Verse. They would own everything.
Yeah.
So Sony went back and said, no, we're not going to do that, but we'll give you 30% of the gross of the Spider-Man movies. And then that's when Disney pulled out and said, I guess we don't have a deal. And Disney came out and said, it's not working out. And everybody turned on Sony. And Disney knew that they could do that because everybody loves the MCU.
Yeah.
And everybody would turn on Sony. And everybody did exactly what Disney hoped they would do, was they start yelling at Sony and all this stuff. So where it's at right now is there's not a deal. And now you got the guy who plays Spider-Man coming out saying, you know what? We're going to do Spider-Man even better without Disney. I don't know if you saw these quotes. He was at D23 and they were interviewing him because he's doing another movie with Disney.
Yeah.
And they asked him, they said, well, what's this going to be like now if you're not with Disney? He said, you know, I'm sad, but at the same time, we're going to make it even cooler. Like, we're free now is what he says. Like, we're free. We're going to do whatever we want. So Sony is sticking to their guns of, we're not giving you a controlling interest in all of our characters.
Yeah.
And then Disney when they get their mindset on what they want, they do not let up. And so here's the good thing. There's not going to be another Marvel team-up movie for at least 3 or 4 years. They've said the next Avengers is a while away.
Yeah.
And number 2, there's not another Spider-Man movie in production right now. So the reason I don't think a deal will be done anytime soon is because there's no movie imminent for them to need to get a deal done.
But I feel like when it comes time to the next Avenger or whatever, I think Disney's they're gonna play chicken and Disney's gonna have to move. I don't know.
I think you're probably right. I think they'll figure it out, but they might not.
Well-
And at the end of the day, I think it's Disney that needs to come back and say, hey, we'll lower our expectations.
So we know-
I don't defend Sony on very much, but they didn't do anything wrong here. They were just being reasonable. If any movie executive signed that deal with Disney, they would be fired the next day. Like, they would have to step down. That is the worst deal.
Here is my suggestion. There's a lot of human rights issues. Oh, we got a cool cloud coming in right now for the.
Sorry.
No, it looked cool. It probably looked really cool. There's a lot of human rights issues going around in the world right now. I say divert all those efforts to protesting this if you want Spider-Man. So if you want clean water and food, what about Spider-Man? That's all I got to say.
I just, in the end,
GameStop employees, quit your jobs, go pick it outside of Sony.
Exactly.
in the end, I think we're going to see. I mean, I look back at I love watching the history of Tetris's rights be spread out among so many different companies when it first got started. Marvel made a decision to allow people to purchase their assets to make movies, and that's again Marvel's decision back in the '90s, and that's their decision.
Sony bought Spider-Man.
Yeah, Sony did everything they were supposed to do, and they're honoring their end. If Disney wants it so badly, they're going to have to really, really offer something that's
They're going to have to bend the knee.
Yeah,
And I think what it's really going to bank on, and why I don't think a deal will be done soon, is Disney thinks possibly they can proceed without Spider-Man and they'll be fine.
No.
My prediction is that will not work out.
Yeah.
But they also thought Han Solo would do well in May.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is these Disney people, they don't listen to their creatives. Alan Horn, who's head of films at Disney, he doesn't understand fandom. He doesn't understand. He didn't understand that Han Solo, 6 months after Last Jedi, was not going to be a good idea. He forced them to release it in July or in May because he said that's when I wanted to come out. This dude does not understand fandom. He's very smart as a businessman, but he doesn't understand fandom. And a lot of what has helped the MCU build to what it is right now involves Spider-Man. They were doing really well, but like
when they introduced
when
Spider-Man
they brought
in Civil
Spider-Man
War,
in, Civil War took it up another notch.
skyrocket.
Yeah.
And if now you take him out and you take out Iron Man and Captain America and Black Widow and Thor, or Thor's going to still be there, but Hulk,
You're removing the main
you're-
centerpiece of the Avengers.
Spider-Man, they set him up to be the new Tony Stark. You can't take him out. It's not going to work out. People are not going to be excited about freaking Nova, and you know what I mean? Like, I think Disney's going to. They're going to wait and see. Can we keep making money now without Spider-Man?
But here's where
And if they don't, maybe then they'll make a deal.
Disney is also fricked up now because Sony now still has rights to Tom Holland and
Yep.
also that. People are flipping out like, oh my gosh, you have Venom. They just put the Venom movie out. They're going to find a way to put these two in a movie together because Tom Holland has 3 movies left on his movie rights. And if they do that, it might be good. And if it's really good,
Yeah.
they might not want it back over there.
Sony has never. People act like Disney's done this big favor for Sony. Sony has made some of the worst Spider-Man movies. Spider-Man 3, Amazing Spider-Man 2. They've also made some of the best Spider-Man movies. Spider-Man 2
The Amazing
and
Spider-Man
Into the
2.
Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse was
So,
good.
like, and
Spider-Verse was
Sony,
great.
outside of Into the Spider-Verse, which is animated, Sony has never made a live-action Spider-Man movie that made less than $800 million.
Yep.
The movies they made with Disney made the same amount of money as the movies they made without Disney.
Yep.
Yeah.
They don't need Disney.
Disney, this is your message.
They don't need
Shape
Disney.
up, shut up,
We
or
all-
shape up.
We all game when they are with Disney because we get to see Spider-Man with these other characters, but like, and what is Spider-Man really going to do in the MCU? They're going out to space and stuff now. Like,
Yeah.
there ain't a lot he can really
Yeah.
do for the things they're fighting.
Spider-Man
now.
is definitely a
I
friendly
think all
neighborhood
the
guy,
leverage is on Sony's side.
But again, I mean, exciting for us as fans. Guess what? Venom and Spider-Man. We might be seeing that movie soon.
Yeah.
And that
So-
could be cool because Venom was kind of corny, but it was fun.
It was good,
It was
and
fun.
I'll tell you right now, like, Hardy played a great Venom. Like,
Yeah.
I think we're gonna be good.
Yeah, he
Like,
did.
I
I'd
think-
like to see a Spider-Man Venom movie.
Listen, Disney, you're gonna take the blue pill, or the red pill, buddy. It's time. Yeah, I think that's it with movie stuff. TV, you guys in front of the boob tube. You guys, do the kids say that now? Like, what'd you watch on the boob tube?
No one ever
What's
says
that?
that.
I've never heard
Oh,
of that.
okay,
I associate what you just said with pornography.
okay.
I hope you know that.
All right, well, take the red pill, buddy. I don't know what to tell you. So yeah, I've been watching the boob tube, but they don't know what that is. It's the television. I've been watching.
I'm really confused right now.
That is a term.
You've never heard that term?
I've heard
Like,
about
in
it.
all
That's an old
honesty.
man's term.
I've never heard people already
I've
say
heard
that.
I've heard boob too, but
Again, I just assume it's something else.
What's
It's
the
what.
best porn you've seen this month?
All right, guys. The Matrix spinoff, the Matrix porn spinoff.
Alright, okay, let's move on. So, I've only watched one TV show. I've actually gotten back because we've been doing fantasy football. It's the month of fantasy football. I've watched The League again. If you guys haven't seen The League, it's a group of guys.
I thought you were literally talking about you're watching football again. I was going to go, what? Why are we talking about that? Like,
that's boob tube football.
FXX
League,
made a
series.
show. Came out, only had 6 episodes in the first season, called The League. What it is a story behind these group of guys who run a fantasy football league and their lives because of the fantasy football league. It took off, became very popular, became a huge comedy. They went out to put out 7 more seasons, and it is hysterical.
Is that still going?
It's done. It's been done, but it is absolutely
But you
hysterical.
went back and watched.
So I'm
it.
rewatching it right now because fantasy football. I just got done drafting my 3 teams, and now I'm like watching the league. I'm in season 2, and it's so funny because they called the trophy that they win called the Shiva, and the Shiva is this valedictorian from their high school that they went to, and it has the picture of this really nerdy girl in the front, and they're like, "Oh, I want the Shiva. Give me the Shiva, the diva," and like they make a bunch of jokes about the Shiva, but it's just funny.
I never liked that show. It came across as really mean-spirited to me. I don't know why.
It is very
It's
mean-spirited.
extremely mean-spirited. These guys, like, it's not like they have
They're
redeeming
toolbags.
moments and they're friends still.
No, they're all toolbags.
They're so mean to each other, bro.
Yeah.
And I just, like, I couldn't watch it after a couple episodes.
Like,
they're too mean.
literally,
There's no light in that
They're
show.
making
It's all
fun.
darkness.
There was an episode where the dad's like, he's gonna have his kid, get circumcised because he's a Jew, and they're like, the guys come over and they're like, "How you feeling?" He's like, "Honestly," he's like, "I don't really want this to happen." And they're all sitting like, "Really?" And they're like, "Ha, it sucks. He's getting his penis snipped." And they're like, they start making fun of him for it, and it's like, man,
sounds like a blast.
Yeah, these guys.
I don't know.
But it's funny. It's all funny
It is
humor.
funny, but it just, man, if you like really mean people being. If you're the kind of guy when you hang out with your friends, you guys are just mean to each other, like and constantly mean.
I'm
I
not.
like it.
I'm not like
Just
that at
busting
all.
their, just
Yeah,
busting
busting
their
their
chops.
balls.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
If
a
you're
lot
a
of that.
mean, cruel person, check out the league. Check out the
If you
league.
put whoopee cushions under your friends' seats and they can make fake farts, you'll love it.
It's funny.
If you call television the boob tube, you might really enjoy it.
If you watch
Early
fantasy
hijinks.
football, you'll get some chuckles out of this.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So I've been watching, and I'm gonna preface this by saying, so I've been playing Xenos, like I said that earlier. There was another thing around the same time that I was into, and it was an anime called Dot Hack Sign. Did you ever play the Dot? There was games Dot Hack, and there was other animes for Dot Hack. So I went up. I was talking to my wife about like getting this game working. I was excited about it, and I told her about watching this anime. Well, I watched the anime around the same time, so I'm like, I told my wife, I was like, I'm reverting to my middle school self, and she said, that sounds awful. So I am definitely in middle school mode, basically. That's why I'm calling stuff boob tube and laughing at butt jokes. There you go. But
So you're basically taking yourself back to
I
like
am.
the beginning to build up.
yes,
You know,
I'm showing her all sides of myself.
I was
Basically,
gonna say, you know, this probably.
I'm putting whoopee cushions under when she's about to sit down, all that stuff. You
I
know?
would say a good example of that would be like, so a guy I know went to a guy I know went to Europe, and he had a Guinness over there, and when he tasted it, he said it just tastes like regular Guinness. It's a beer, and when he got back, he tried American Guinness. He's like, oh, this is trash. So he went back to like Natty Light to build himself up to enjoy an American Guinness. So from that story,
That's basically what
You're showing her how much you've improved.
Yes,
So
I'm gonna
it's-
go watch this. I'm gonna
I'm gonna go
devolve
back
to
my
evolve.
most childish state, and you'll get to see me grow up
Yeah.
again. Yeah.
So I'm basically
Why
sticking.
would you put
So
your
I'm
name
starting
through
to
that?
like when she's like, "Can you please, clean the dishes?" I stick my tongue out. I go. I do one of these. We used to do that. Whenever she's just.
DX.
Yeah.
So good.
I'm making fart noises, all that stuff. No, I'm actually just watching anime, honestly. But so I'm watching Dot Hack Sign, and coming back now. This has been like since 03, so like 16 years I haven't watched the show over since I was a kid. I used to watch on Toonami or whatever. The show is about an MMORPG, and this character can't leave from it, and it's all involved in this like online world. And they made games about it, and they were kind of interesting. But coming from like Evangelion and like Gurren Lagann, reverting back to this is the most simplistic freaking anime on planet Earth. I could see why like 6th grade me loved it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now as an adult, I go,
It's like a normal shonen kind of.
it's very basic, but all the soundtrack, all the freaking corny, music they have in it, it's bringing me back again. And then I stick my tongue out at my wife and say, I'm not doing it. Close the door. So
I still play Atari and I watch He-Man. So that's what I do.
you got to revert sometimes.
You do.
You
You're
got to
right.
revert. But
Absolutely.
I'm enjoying that. And then I finished. I talked about it on an earlier podcast, but Too Old to Die Young. It was the series by Nicholas. How do you say that name? Refn.
Refn.
He did Drive. He's done. What the frick is the other movie?
Only God Forgives.
Only God Forgives.
Haven't heard of the
Pusher.
Yeah. So I've been watching it. It's on Amazon. 10 episodes. It's very long. Each episode. All these long kind of slow cuts, slow takes, or whatever. Man, that might be some of my favorite television this year. It was right up my alley. If you're into that Drive, all the other stuff, artsy
You haven't watched
stuff.
Jimmy Neutron.
Now that
have
you
you?
finished it, and you know that I have a strong preference for Drive, and then Only God Forgives, and then that last one probably last. Where is this on that spectrum of like?
Well, I couldn't tell you without spoiling something now that I've seen all of it. I will say it is more in line of Drive stuff, but I will say there are some twists and turns that you will have a fun time with. If you'll have a fun time, but I
We'll find
can't say
out
much
soon.
more. So, very cool, very extremely violent. Yeah, very
GTA
bad.
violent?
I would say more so sometimes. I don't know. It's very,
Ooh,
very.
TV shows.
There you go.
So I think that's all I've seen for TV. Oh, me and my wife, she heard I was going through middle school stages. She was like, "I'll come back with you." We've been watching Kill la Kill. That's a newer anime, but she's getting to watch it. It's funnier. It's funny because I'm just used to the world of anime and all these like they do fan service and show girls' boobs and butts and all that stuff and these animes. So having my wife watch these, I get to see it through new eyes and it becomes funnier because like the shots are like for some reason they're just talking to somebody, and then the camera cuts, and it's like
Between
between the girl's
legs.
legs or something. It's like, why would you ever shoot it like that? So that's become new fun, like, because I'm so used to it, I'm so numb to it. It's not whatever. So we're having a good time with it. That show is very, very funny. And we're all laughing and
So
stuff.
speaking of anime with the significant other, on my birthday, my fiance surprised me, and we ordered like Indian food, and we hung out, and she got me a whole day where she set up all these animes I've been talking about wanting to watch, and we watched the first episode of like 6 different animes in a row because I've been wanting to check a lot of them out. And so we watched Death Note, One Punch Man, Gurren Lagann, Monster. We watched a few others.
What was your favorite
but-
one? I've
so-
watched all the episodes.
So I'll talk
So you
about.
watched the first episode of all these. Of
Yeah.
all these animes.
Yeah, I'll talk about my favorite one last. But I watched One Punch Man. That is a freaking funny
It's
show. If you don't know the premise, basically, I don't know a lot about the overarching show, but at least in the pilot, it's like this like bald guy with a cape, and these monsters, like a monster comes in, and he's like killing people, like killing kids and stuff, and then he comes up and he just punches the guy, and his head explodes, and he dies. And
Sounds
then-
very happy.
and and then when he kills him, the guy, like the bald guy, the hero of the show, he's like, dang it, he died in one punch again. And then, like, it shows his backstory, and it shows he killed another thing in one punch, and it just kind of goes on to show, like, it's a dude who's basically unbelievably powerful, and he's bored. Like, and like to the extent, and it's just so funny, like the way they set up, like, I'm Bacteria Man, and all the bacteria that people leave out from their global warming, and then this guy's going into his whole backstory, and the guy just comes up and punches him, and he dies. Like, so they set up like 3 or 4 what I would consider to be like major bad guys, and he kills them all in like 10 minutes. And then it just kind of shows him in his apartment, sitting in the bathtub, that he's bored, and he has he then like these like guys come out of the ground, and it's like the first real challenge he's ever had, and he's like, this is amazing, and then he wakes up and it was all a dream, and he's like back to being bored. So it's a fun kind of premise for a show. So One Punch Man, thumbs up. I would recommend it so far. I watched Gurren Lagann. I actually watched like 5 episodes of that show. I know that's your favorite.
That's
I know
one of
it's
my
one of your
favorites,
favorites. For me, to me it's just kind of standard so far. I would say I like kind of I like the style of it. I like kind of the setup, which is where these
I
people
think you definitely have to watch more
these
where
people
you're
are
at.
underground, and then they come up above from underground, and they're fighting like, I don't know, like these weird monkey pirate guys that are like in these suits.
Monkey.
Nothing's really grabbed me yet where I'm like, whoa, this is unbelievable. There's been a couple cool character moments, but it is good. But there have been more compelling things that I started. Death Note, which I would say is probably my second favorite one of the shows that I started. Has anybody here seen Death
Yes,
Note?
it's very
I've
good.
watched the first episode.
Oh, my
It didn't
Lord.
grab me right
Yeah,
away,
the first
so I might need
episode-
to watch it.
The first episode, I
It turns into Breaking Bad.
I
It
was
literally
on
turns
the
into
fence
Breaking
in the
Bad.
first episode, and then the second episode, I turned to Jess. I said, "This is Breaking Bad."
Yeah.
I don't want to get too much into it, but basically, kid finds a notebook that is like owned by a demon, and if he writes names in the book, the person dies in 30 seconds. So you would think like things that start happening are things I would think would happen 10 episodes in.
Yeah.
This kid goes nuts. Like, he does not waste any time. Like, think about trying to write down every name of every criminal. It becomes a human rights crisis.
Yeah, it's
and
a
like
crazy
the
premise that goes
governments
nuts.
Get together, like
Yeah.
10,000 men died yesterday. Like, what is happening? And they start investigating, and then there's a guy who's trying to find him.
Yeah.
And so now it becomes a game of cat and mouse of the guy is baiting him into doing certain things so he can try to find him. And then you find out certain characters have like family in the police force, and it becomes like, oh my god, this is like a major game of cat and mouse, very similar to Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
And so I'm all in on Death Note. Death Note was cool. What else did we watch? We watched a first episode of... Okay, so I'll go ahead and talk about my favorite one that we started. There's an anime called Monster, and it came out in 2004, and then I think it ran for 3 seasons of 24 episodes. So it's not a really long show. It's not a shonen anime. It's not like about like a hero running around or whatever. It is, maybe more than any anime I've ever seen, very rooted in reality. There is nothing supernatural going on. There's no fan service. There is no like funny characters. It's almost like a drama. It's like an AMC or an HBO show, but it's just anime. It starts off in 1980s Germany, in Berlin, where the Berlin Wall is. And it takes place on the west side of the Berlin Wall. And the show starts where basically there's this surgeon, and he's a brain surgeon, and he's moving up in the company. He's the main character. He's moving up in the hospital. He's engaged to be married to the daughter of the director of the hospital, and things are really looking up from him. He's from Japan, so he's Japanese, but he's living in Germany. And basically the show starts, and there's this guy that he's about to operate on, but then they come in and they're like, hey, you need to operate on this other guy. Like, he's about to operate on this poor, like, immigrant guy. And then they're like, hey, there's a singer here in the next room. It's emergency. You have to go operate on this opera singer, or he won't be able to sing anitmore. And basically the director says, hey, this is like a really high profile client. You need to go help this guy. So he leaves the brain surgery to this other guy, and then he does that guy's vocal surgery. Well, he does the surgery, and the other guy dies, right? Like, the other guy doesn't live. And his, like, wife comes and, like, berates him in the hallway, like, you left him to die, blah, blah, blah. Why didn't anybody help him? And so he's kind of shell-shocked from this. Well, that's in the pilot, and then the episode starts going, and then, like, later on, basically he decides he's never going to do that again. Later on, a similar scenario comes up where there's a boy that's been attacked, and there's also, like, the mayor of the city. And the same thing kind of happens. We're like, hey, you need to go in here and operate on the mayor. And he remembers back to when that thing happened in the past, so he operates on the boy instead. So this is all in the pilot. Basically, the mayor doesn't make it, but the boy lives. But then all these weird murders start happening in the hospital, and all this crazy stuff happens. There's like this weird, like, satanic kind of stuff going on. And he is kind of caught in this gigantic thing that is bigger, and some weird stuff starts happening with the boy. And so basically, it is a very rooted in reality show where basically the surgeon is just kind of at the center of a lot of murders. And there's like some weird, almost borderline like Illuminati stuff going on, people getting offed, and it is phenomenal. I couldn't recommend it enough. So Monster, it's an anime. Freaking check it out. It's so good.
So
it has potential to be the best anime I've ever seen.
Wow.
So me, I don't keep up with a lot of stuff, but I will say this, and I'm sure everybody here, maybe, I don't know, anybody watching, you're probably familiar that Castlevania.
Yeah, I watched. That was the other one. We watched the first episode of Castlevania.
Huge. Going back to the early gamer in me, Castlevania was an awesome series. And when I heard they were doing an anime series on Netflix, I was like, oh my gosh. So I watched the first series. I haven't finished the second one. Excuse me. I haven't finished the second one.
He's getting choked up talking about Castlevania.
I know, right? The second season of Castlevania I haven't finished yet, but I love it. So if I have to, just trying to dive into everybody's topic here, Castlevania, killer, loved it.
Great. It's short too.
It's very short, very disappointing. But you know what? That's cool because it definitely leaves you on a cliffhanger, which is what you want in a show. It captivates you. It makes you want to.
I'd rather leave me wanting more than have me bored.
You're so interested in when the next part comes out. But Castlevania, I watched that. I haven't finished the second season yet, but on the joking note when I was saying He-Man earlier, He-Man is coming out with a animated series on Netflix. And I'm a huge He-Man fan. I grew up watching it along with Voltron and stuff like that. Voltron was killer. The Netflix series that they did, awesome. But yeah, anybody who watches and is a fan of He-Man, check out. Keep in touch because He-Man will be they'll be doing a whole new series.
Speaking of Netflix, they also announced the Russo brothers who directed Infinity War and like Captain America: Civil War. They're making a Magic the Gathering Netflix animated show.
Really?
How random is that? Yeah,
crazy.
They're huge Magic fans.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up. Any last words? Anything you guys want to tell the camera?
I watched
when you're in
Spider-Verse and it was really good. I watched Inland Empire and it was really weird.
That sums up. Yeah, let's do lightning round thoughts that you need to get out to the world.
Watch He-Man, old or new. And if you're new to this channel, please subscribe to DweeBros.
Play Destiny 2. Just do it.
Avoid Dark Souls and grow a mustache.
Show I started watching called Good Girls. It's not an anime. We talked a lot about anime, but it's
Oh yeah, we didn't get to give you a chance.
no, that's all right. Super fun. It's a
I got one.
funny show. It's about like these girls that decide that they want to rob a bank because they're all in like a financial thing, and then they end up getting in this like crime ring unknowingly, and then it just kind of like no, it doesn't.
I'm not interested.
It kind of gets like Breaking Bad vibes sometimes, but like it doesn't take itself quite as seriously. It's a pretty fun show.
That's cool.
and I've been watching Evangelion subbed, not dubbed.
Good for you.
For the
You're
first, for the first.
Yeah, so that came back. They did the Netflix dub we talked about, but that's cool.
So, yep. That's and hey Zach, come here, come here, come the heck here, Zach, come here, Zach.
I can speak for everybody that we are having a glorious weekend.
We're having a great time here.
Zach, come here.
Oh gosh.
I don't know if they can even
Anybody
hear
got
us.
a rock to throw?
Through the window.
Hey Zach!
Hey Zach,
Zach! Zach Campbell! Lauren's out here!
Zach.
Zach!
I wonder if I can call him.
He's not coming.
Try that.
At this point, he's doing it just to spite us.
He is doing it to spite us, huh?
We just take a picture of Zach and just throw him on the screen.
I should go back to that pizza place again.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a great pizza experience
I
down
would
here.
go with
in,
great,
uh,
man. I love it.
I haven't
We are
had
in
pizza.
the Hocking Hills area of. Hold on, I'm
Alright.
calling him.
Well,
Hey,
3 people.
hey,
died.
come out here. Hey, come out here for a second,
For real.
please.
No, For
Please.
real, come out here. For real. I'm for real.
For real.
Please, we want to dedicate this episode to you. We have to have you out here.
For real, Zach, come out. There he is.
Okay, here he is.
Seriously, come on.
Oh, sorry about
sit
that.
Right there on the step.
Okay, so you should have got that on camera.
What the hell was that?
I think it was a marshmallow.
Come sit on the step.
Come
right
sit
there.
on the step, or I know it's kind of
Face
wet
the
there, but
camera.
oh no, we're good.
Sit down, buddy.
Here, sit down a little bit.
Sit down.
So we are having a bachelor party for Zach this weekend, and we've talked about games, we've celebrated it all, but we came here to celebrate Zach, not video games and anime and boob tubes.
This is his weekend we were talking about.
So
Very much his.
please tell everyone at home, are you taking the blue pill or are you taking the red pill?
Yeah, bro.
You didn't answer the question.
There you go.
Oh, am I taking the blue? Oh, the blue, dog. Bliss.
Oh my gosh! Cancel the freaking thing! Cancel the thing! You gotta take the red pill. You're taking the red pill. You're taking the.
I thought
You gotta take the red pill.
I'm starting these jets.
The blue pill. No, the blue pill's sending you back. The red pill, you gotta go. You go down the rabbit hole.
Give me bliss, dog. Give me my 9 to 5.
Okay.
Give me my kids. Give me my
The-
wife.
Jets are coming on.
Jets are coming on.
There is some inebriation going on.
Oh my gosh. All right, well, to everyone that's watching, thank you for joining us at the Dweebs. Oh my gosh, a cloud of mist surrounded
No,
us.
I'll leave it alone. We'll leave it at that. There we go.
Do one major rip. Last
All
rip.
right.
See you later.